Hello, my name's Josh. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I've recently been through a divorce. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today I'd like to discuss a lesson that I learned many years before my divorce, but one that just really became a saving grace for me throughout my divorce. So it starts with the hymn, Come Thou Font. The second verse of that hymn says, Here I raise my Ebenezer, hitherto this far I've come. And then it goes on. And some time ago I wondered, what does that even mean? What is Ebenezer? Because obviously the only Ebenezer I know is the one that most everyone knows, I think, which is Ebenezer Scrooge. Obviously that made no sense. So I decided to do a little bit of research on the topic. And I came to the story of Samuel in the Old Testament. And the story, I'm going to summarize the story, but the story goes like this. Israel was at war with the Philistines, which happens a lot in the Old Testament. And they went to battle and they lost handily to the Philistines. It was a bad loss for them. They lost the ark and several issues. So it was a bad loss. Israel goes back at that point to Samuel, the prophet. They had not been very righteous. So they go back to Samuel and they ask him what they need to do because they are recognizing that they've made a huge mistake. Samuel commands them to repent. And in the process of time they do. And then the next time they go back to battle with the Philistines, this time they've repented and they're following the prophet. This time they beat the Philistines fairly soundly. And after that battle, Samuel goes out to the battlefield and erects a large stone monument and names it Ebenezer. And he sets it there as a reminder to the house of Israel that it was God who helped them win that battle. That it was because of their faithfulness to God and because of his power that they beat the Philistines. So that's the explanation of Ebenezer. So once I realized that and I read that second verse again, it became much more powerful what the author of that verse was trying to say. And I decided, I thought to myself, well, how do I apply that in my own life? So I started at that point to either write down or make serious mental note of times in my life where I knew that the Lord had interceded on my behalf. Times when something happened, I knew unequivocally that the Lord's hand had been made manifest. So fast forward several years after learning this, and my wife and I are struggling mightily in our marriage. And there were many very dark days. But in the midst of those very dark days, there were also small miracles that occurred. There were times when the Lord's hand was clearly manifest in my life. And so I started making mental notes of those or writing those down. And then ultimately, at first, I held on to those that the Lord would help save my marriage. When my wife asked for the divorce, obviously that wasn't the miracle that I had hoped for. But I knew through my experiences that the Lord had been with me. And so, although it was painful to lose my marriage, and that divorce process, it took about 18 months, it was a very painful, it was long, it was arduous. There was a lot of darkness in that process as well, and a lot of pain for me, but also pain for my children. It's tough all around. But there were still times when I could see the Lord's hand manifest in my life or in the lives of my children. And I made sure to keep a mental note of those. The reason being is because when the darkness comes, and it comes without question, it is going to come. And it's going to come again and again and again. I was able to look to those Ebenezers in my life. And I knew if the Lord had helped me before, he would help me again. And sometimes, I know in the past I would make the mistake and think I have to be living perfectly. And if I do anything wrong, any little mistake or sin, then the Lord won't help me. But as I evaluated my Ebenezers, my personal Ebenezers, I realized I wasn't perfect. I was trying to follow the Lord. I was doing my best, given the knowledge I had, given the information I had, or what I understood at the time. I was trying, I was giving it a good effort, and the Lord blessed me disproportionately, right? He blessed me more than I was probably worthy of or deserved. And so then, as I reflected on that, all those times the Lord had blessed me and been with me and helped me get through those challenges in my life, in those darkest moments of the divorce, I knew if he'd helped me before, he'll help me again. I just need to hold on. I just need to do the best I know how to do in this circumstance. I mean, divorce throws circumstances at you that there's no way of preparing for. So you're kind of lost in a desert. But I knew that if I kept moving and I just trusted that the Lord had helped me before and he'd help me again, that he would get me through that desert. And he did. And he does. So for anyone who's really struggling right now, and first of all, I want to say I feel for you. I have been there, and at times it still is hard. And I've been divorced for 4 months, and there's still things that are hard about it. But for those of you who are in the midst of the divorce right now, or in the midst of the healing process particularly, just hold on. Just give it your best. It's not going to be perfect. But try to remember those times that the Lord has helped you. Try to plant those Ebenezers in your own life, in your own battlefields, if you will, and look to those when things get difficult. When you are back in that battle again, whatever that battle is, look to your Ebenezers and just hold on. Thanks. My name's Josh, and while I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, my channel is not endorsed by the church. All of my thoughts are my own. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I've just been through the divorce process, and I've learned some lessons, and I've got a lot more to learn, and I hope they help you. Thanks.